Today in today's video, I'm going to be going over probably one of the craziest college football careers, mostly up to this point, because really this career is sort of still going on because this is a career of a player who has been in college football since 2020. The player that I am talking about is college football quarterback TJ Finley, who's probably right now has been having one of the craziest careers that I have seen in my time of watching football. So that of course what I'll be going over in today's video. I know of course on the channel of course my previous couple videos were of course wrestling videos, because of course this past weekend just got done with SummerSlam. Had of course my review videos. Definitely go check out those videos for my wrestling videos, my wrestling content. So welcome to the BrewCrew channel. My name of course is Hayden Brewer. Of course, like I've said, I do the football content and also do wrestling content, because of course SummerSlam just happened as well. But of course, kind of taking a break, not taking a break, but like probably this video, maybe my next video, gonna be doing some football videos as well, just to kind of balance it out just a little more. But yeah, so today we're gonna be doing a little bit of a football video. Of course, I just said at the beginning. Let's go ahead and get into that. And before we actually get into that, if you guys haven't yet, or are new to the channel but haven't yet, or whatever, I don't know what I'm trying to say, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell for future upcoming videos on the channel. Like I said before, do football content and wrestling content here on the channel as well. So definitely, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into one of the craziest careers I've ever seen in college football. Now, some fans may know the name TJ Finley. Of course, here's a picture of TJ Finley. This is him. Maybe some fans do know him. Some LSU fans may actually remember him as well. I definitely do remember him as well, with me being an LSU fan. But if you do not know TJ Finley, here's a little bit to know about TJ Finley before we get into mostly his college career. Now, he of course grew up in Louisiana. He grew up in Ponchatoula, where he actually went to Ponchatoula High School. And he did have 2 good years with his junior and senior year. His senior year, he passed for 2,736 passing yards and 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, while in his senior year, he passed for 2,738 yards, 21 touchdowns, and also scored 8 rushing touchdowns. So a pretty good 2-year stretch where he was actually a 3-star recruit and a 3-star prospect, and was the best quarterback in the state of Louisiana. He ended up committing to LSU ended up committing to LSU to play college at LSU as a sophomore in high school, over offers of Oregon, Alabama, and Auburn. Now, when he was a sophomore, this was around 2018, so this was right when Joe Burrow was starting. So in the middle of course, Joe Burrow's magical 2019 season, we had this young 3-star recruit and the number 1 best quarterback in Louisiana coming in to play. But of course, he came in around 2020. Of course, a year that LSU fans, especially myself, want to forget and don't ever want to remember. But of course, the big thing was oh god, excuse me. So sorry about that. Of course, was the quarterback situation. Because of course, we just came off an amazing 2019 season, national championship season. And of course, lost Joe Burrow to where he would go on to become the number 1 overall pick, after of course leading us to a national title and even going on to win the Heisman Trophy. But of course, we didn't know who the starting quarterback was, but some fans did know. It was going to be Myles Brennan. If you don't know who Myles Brennan was, Myles Brennan at the time was the backup to Joe Burrow and had been there longer than, of course, the couple of other freshman quarterbacks like TJ Finley and also Max Johnson. Max Johnson could potentially be another video to talk about, because he also is having a pretty crazy college career as well. Anywho, all in all, mostly it looked like Myles Brennan was going to be the starter for the season, and potentially TJ Finley or Max Johnson was going to be one of the 2 backups for Myles Brennan coming into the 2020 season. But of course, as the 2020 season went along and was not looking too good for LSU, it wouldn't be until October 24th in 2020 against South Carolina, Myles Brennan, of course, would get injured, and would make the The team would go on to make TJ Finley the starting quarterback for the game against South Carolina, where the young TJ Finley, in his first start, had an amazing game. I do actually remember watching this game a little bit. He went on to have a pretty good game with 17 of 21 pass attempts, 65 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns and only 1 interception, and even had 24 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown in that game. So a pretty good game that he had in his very first start, and would actually go on to have he actually would go on to start 5 other games. He would go on to actually start 5 games, and at the end, and would finish his freshman season with a 2-3 record as a starter in the 5 games that he played. He ended up finishing with a pretty good stat in his freshman year, with of course 80 of 140 attempts, 941 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, and of course including the 1 rushing touchdown he had. But mostly after his time, he was also sharing a little bit with a returning Miles Brennan, who I don't remember if it was a season-ending injury or if he did come back, but him and Max Johnson did share roles, but he would end up being still competing, as Miles Brennan would try to come back for another year. I believe we had him as like a medical redshirt or something. I can't really remember. Probably could be a career to talk about as well in another sort of video, but was in a competition with Miles Brennan and Max Johnson in spring practice, but he would later on announce that he would actually enter the transfer portal, as mostly, of course, probably some LSU fans do know that, of course, the next few years, or the next year in 2021, Max Johnson would go on to become the starting quarterback. Again, probably Max Johnson could be another video, because he also has a pretty crazy career up to this point as well. So maybe another video, probably Max Johnson. Let me know in the comments if you want me to probably talk about Max Johnson as well. But let's continue with TJ Finley. He would go on to transfer to Auburn over offers from Alabama, Penn State, and Houston in May of 2021. He mostly would be the backup to Bo Nix, mostly, but in September, mostly I think was the first and second game, Auburn against Georgia State was in apparently a back-and-forth battle and was close to being upset against Georgia State. The team would actually end up benching Bo Nix, and TJ Finley would come in and have a pretty good game, with him actually going on to throw the game-winning touchdown. He would go on, of course, to throw the game-winning touchdown. Doesn't really say it on here, but I do remember, I don't know if this was 2021 or I believe it was 2021. Later on that year, towards the end of the year, he would be the starting quarterback against Alabama and would be nearly close in an overtime thriller against Bryce Young and the #1 Alabama Crimson Tide. Mind you, they were 6-5 at this point, and they ended up finishing 6-6. TJ Finley was really close. I remember watching this game. It was really close from beating Bryce Young in Alabama in a shocker, but they fell short in overtime. But he was named the starting quarterback the next season in 2022. But in August of 2022, he was arrested on a misdemeanor warrant of eluding police officers on 2 separate occasions while riding his motorcycle without a helmet throughout the city of Auburn. Why, bro? Why? Later on, though, the next year, 2023, in May of 2023, he would announce again that he would enter the transfer portal. He ended up actually graduating from Auburn and participated in the school's summer 2023 summer ceremony as well. So he did end up graduating from Auburn, but still entered the transfer portal. And he would actually go on later on in 2024, in January of 2024, would transfer, I got my dates mixed up. Doesn't really show the date, but he would end up transferring to Texas State. After his 2 seasons at Auburn in 2021 of him being a starter, he was 0-3 as a starter in 2021, where he still had over 800 yards passing, 6 touchdowns and 1 interception, and 1 rushing touchdown. But even though in 2022 he was a 2-1 as a starter, he had lesser yards and mostly lesser stats. He only had 431 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions in his 2022 season. Of course, after his legal trouble and all that, he, of course, would still graduate from Auburn, like I said before, and, of course, would go on to transfer, where he would go on to transfer to Texas State, to the Texas State Bobcats, where he would actually go on to have one of his best seasons, as he was actually the full-time starter for the team. He started all 13 games. He went 8-5 as a starter for the team, including winning their bowl game as well, where he had a pretty good year, completing 279 passes of 414 attempts, passed for over 3,439 passing yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, along with also 69 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns. And potentially, after a great season like that, you would probably think either he would try his luck in the NFL, after, of course, this was his 4th year, or he would actually probably try to do one more year. One more year of sorts. Because I think around this point he was still like a graduate student. I believe a graduate student, I think it was, or a graduate transfer, or something like that, I think, that he probably could have played one more year. But in January of 2024, probably a little bit after the bowl game or so, he would announce that he would enter the transfer portal for the 3rd time as a graduate transfer. He would go on to transfer a couple days later to Western Kentucky on January 22nd. But he barely played, as he only appeared and started in 3 games and went 2-1 as a starter, passing for only 491 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Of course, kind of an underwhelming stint with Western Kentucky, where he did also, I believe, battle injuries. But later on, though, mostly also now that I'm reading, actually, it mostly was because I'm sorry if I'm all over the place right now. It would be actually later on, probably by the end of the season, or probably not at the end of the season or something. But in December of that same year, in 2024, he would announce that he would enter the transfer portal for a 4th time, where he would come back to Louisiana, transferring to Tulane just a couple days later on the 16th of 2024, joining the Green Wave of Tulane, where, of course, he would potentially become the starter for this upcoming 2025 season. This, of course, was last year when he transferred to Tulane and looked like could be the new starting quarterback for this upcoming season. But it doesn't look like that, because earlier this year, on April 4th, Finley was suspended indefinitely from the Tulane football team following his arrest for an illegal possession of a stolen Dodge Ram truck valued at greater than $25,000. So that means that we will probably not see TJ Finley in a Tulane uniform for this upcoming season, for the 2025 season. So yeah, that's mostly it of what I've seen, or what I can look at right now on my computer, of what TJ Finley's up to, or what, I don't know. But it looks like he's mostly indefinitely suspended from the team. This was back in April, so I don't think this was before the draft. So don't know how the rest of his football career is going to really go. But looking at how his football career went, 5 different teams, transferred 4 times, and it's 6 years. This is a 6-year span that he played from 2020 to 2025. 6 years, 5 different teams, 4 times in the transfer portal. And the only team that he spent more than just 1 year with was his second team back at Auburn. Crazy. It was just definitely probably one of the craziest careers, and really, like, it's just could have been crazier, because we didn't even get to see how his 2025 season would have gone with Tulane. But all in all, really, all we're going to look back on his career is that he had the one pretty good year back in 2023 with Texas State. But yeah, so I guess that's where I can try to end this video right here, ladies and gentlemen. But I mean, again, this was probably one of the craziest career. It's still shocking to me, like, 6-year span, transfer portal 4 times on 5 different teams. That is just crazy to think about, that a player would go through that, really. So I mean, so yeah, I did of course talk about Max Johnson. Max Johnson's career, I have looked at like his stuff. His career is not that pretty crazy as TJ Finley's, but could be still interesting to talk about because of really like his scenario that he was in as well, a little bit really. But yeah, so so comment down below if you guys agree about this being probably one of the craziest college football careers up to this point now, really. But mostly that I've ever seen. I really don't know if his college career is still going, or if he is done with football, with of course, because of course the suspension and arrest happened back in April, so I don't really know much. If y'all maybe know anything, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. I haven't really seen anything else about it. So yeah. So with that, there it is. So TJ Finley, one of the craziest college football careers, not really ever, but probably one of the craziest college careers that I've seen up to this point. So anyway, guys, with that being said, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button. Also hit the subscribe button if you guys haven't, and hit that notification bell for future upcoming videos. And hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.